Suzanne Summers represented something rare in Hollywood, a woman who never stopped growing, learning, and evolving.
Suzanne Summers represented something rare in Hollywood, a woman who never stopped growing, learning, and evolving. She wasn't satisfied with just being a star. She wanted to understand the mechanics of how success worked, how health could be improved, and how happiness could be maintained through discipline and gratitude. She was one of the few entertainers who turned her name into a lifestyle brand rooted in authenticity. Suzanne built her reputation not on controversy or scandal, but on work ethic and the ability to reinvent herself without ever losing her charm. She taught her fans that beauty was not about perfection, it was about energy, how you make people feel when you walk into a room. Her beginnings were humble, and she never forgot that. She came from a working class Irish Catholic family in California, and her childhood was not easy. Her father struggled with alcoholism, and she often spoke openly about the pain of growing up in that environment. But even as a young girl, she carried an unshakable belief that she was meant for more. That belief became her compass. When she later shared her story in her autobiography, she did so not to gain sympathy, but to inspire others who had come from difficult backgrounds to rise above circumstance. She showed that your start in life doesn't define your finish. Suzanne's first break came in the early 1970s with small parts in film and television. Few people remember that she appeared briefly in American Graffiti, a movie that went on to define a generation. Her role was short, just a girl in a white Thunderbird, but that single moment of beauty and mystery stayed in the minds of millions. It was the spark that caught the industry's attention. Hollywood took notice of her screen presence, that combination of innocence and charisma that made people look twice. Then came the call that changed everything: Three's Company. It wasn't just another sitcom. It was a cultural phenomenon that brought laughter into living rooms all over America. Suzanne's portrayal of Chrissy Snow turned her into a superstar. Her comedic rhythm was impeccable. She could deliver a punchline with such natural timing that even her co-stars sometimes broke character just to laugh. Her chemistry with John Ritter was pure magic. Together, they created some of the most memorable moments in television history. Behind the scenes, however, Suzanne was learning hard lessons about fame, gender, and value. When she asked for equal pay, something that male co-stars were receiving without question, she was met with resistance. At a time when few women in entertainment dared to challenge the system, Suzanne took a stand. The industry punished her for it, but history has proven that she was right. That fight for fairness made her a pioneer long before equality became a movement. What was once labeled as defiance is now seen as courage. She wasn't fighting just for herself, she was fighting for every woman who came after her. When the show ended for her, Suzanne didn't crumble. She refused to be a footnote. Instead, she pivoted, using that same charisma that made her famous to become one of television's first multimedia entrepreneurs. Her late night commercials became part of pop culture. She took a simple fitness device, the Thigh Master, and sold millions. But more importantly, she sold empowerment. She taught women to take control of their health, to embrace strength and confidence, and to never apologize for wanting to look and feel their best. In her talk shows and seminars, Suzanne spoke with honesty. She talked about aging not as a curse, but as a privilege. She reminded people that the goal was not to look young, but to stay alive and vibrant inside. She became a wellness icon before wellness was even a trend. Her ideas about nutrition, supplements, and hormone balance were controversial at first, but they sparked conversations that changed how people think about self-care. As the years went on, Suzanne built a remarkable career that spanned over 5 decades. She became a Las Vegas headliner, performing for audiences that adored her charm and wit. Her live shows mixed comedy, song, and storytelling, a reflection of her multifaceted talent. She could make you laugh one moment and tear up the next. Every show was a reminder that she was still that same girl from California who wanted to make people smile. Her marriage to Alan Hamel became one of the most admired partnerships in show business. They weren't just husband and wife, they were teammates. They worked side by side in business, writing, and production. Alan supported her dreams as fiercely as she supported his. Their love story was built on laughter and mutual respect. Together, they created an empire not based on greed, but on passion. Even as time passed, the two of them radiated affection. They were proof that real love can survive fame, pressure, and the passing of years. Suzanne's influence stretched far beyond television. She became a cultural symbol of self reliance and reinvention. She used her fame to uplift others, often reminding her fans to look at the bright side of life, no matter how difficult things became. In her later interviews, she spoke about the importance of forgiveness, especially toward those who had hurt her early in her career. That grace was one of her most beautiful qualities. She didn't carry bitterness, she carried lessons. As her health challenges increased, Suzanne continued to work. She faced cancer with the same determination that she brought to every other chapter of her life. Her courage gave hope to millions battling illness. She said that fear was the enemy and that laughter was medicine. Even in her hardest days, she found reasons to smile. She once said, "Every sunrise is God's way of saying, start again." That optimism touched hearts around the world. The younger generation may not fully grasp what Suzanne meant to those who grew up watching her, but her impact is woven into modern entertainment. Every confident female sitcom character owes something to her blueprint. Every celebrity who turns a personal brand into a business is following her path. And every woman who demands equal respect in the workplace is walking through a door Suzanne Summers helped open decades ago. Her books continue to inspire. Whether it was Ageless, Sexy Forever, or A New Way to Age, her words reminded readers that life after 50 is not the end, it's the beginning of a new kind of freedom. She encouraged people to rediscover their passions and stay curious. Her philosophy was simple: the body can heal, the mind can grow, and the heart can love endlessly. That message resonated across generations. Even outside her public persona, Suzanne was known for her generosity. She supported charities, encouraged young women in entertainment, and treated everyone on her team like family. People who worked with her described her as kind, loyal, and funny. She had a way of making people feel important. She knew everyone's name, remembered their stories, and took the time to show gratitude. That's what made her unforgettable, not just the star on screen, but the person behind it. As time passes, the legacy of Suzanne Summers grows even more profound. Her laughter continues to echo in reruns, her voice continues to inspire in recordings, and her words continue to heal in books and interviews. She represents an era of television when humor was pure and performances were heartfelt. But more importantly, she represents the human spirit's ability to rise. She once said that every dream begins with a spark. Hers began with a belief that no matter where you come from, you can create the life you want. That belief carried her from a small town to Hollywood, from heartbreak to happiness, from the girl in the Thunderbird to a woman remembered around the world. Today, her image still brings smiles, the bright blonde hair, the infectious grin, and the twinkle in her eye that said, "You can do anything." She was America's sweetheart, but she was also America's teacher, showing us that strength wears many faces. As we continue to celebrate her, we realize that Suzanne Summers was not just an entertainer, she was an era. She helped define what it meant to laugh at life's chaos, to love deeply, and to never let others determine your worth. Her influence continues to ripple through time, touching hearts that never even met her. So, to everyone who remembers her, cherish that laughter, replay those episodes, reread those books, and let her optimism remind you that joy is a choice we make every day. To those discovering her legacy for the first time, welcome to the world of Suzanne Somers, where humor meets heart, courage meets grace, and every challenge becomes a chance to shine. Suzanne Somers' story teaches us that fame is temporary, but impact is forever. She lived boldly, loved deeply, and gave generously. Her journey was proof that you can rewrite your destiny as many times as it takes. She was the actress who became an icon, the survivor who became a teacher, and the woman who became a legend. As the years go on, we will still hear her laughter, see her smile, and feel her warmth every time her name is spoken. Suzanne Summers will never fade into history, because history will always carry her light, missed but never forgotten. And as we close this tribute, let us remember her words and her wisdom. Be kind, be curious, be grateful. Keep laughing, because somewhere beyond the curtain, Suzanne Summers is still smiling, still shining, and still reminding us all to live our best lives every single day. If you're watching this tribute, honor her by living with the same joy she gave to the world. Like, subscribe, and share this video on the Dynamic View so that her legacy continues to shine across generations. The light she gave us will never fade. It will only grow brighter every time someone remembers her name. Suzanne Summers, you will always be our golden light.